Hello, welcome to another installment of Being a Being. I'm Jason, and today we are going to talk about thinking critically. I want to talk about why I think it's important, what you have to gain from it, and what happens if we don't. So, with that being said, all I ask is that if you like what you see, you subscribe, you leave me some comments, you hit that like button, and let me know what you think. Obviously, we're all given a brain. I like to think there's a reason we have a brain. And I think it's time we all kind of started figuring out the reason we have it and start using it. Now, there's an expression I talk about a lot, and it's said quite a bit in the world. It's perception is reality. Did you know that it's actually true? Or is it true? I guess that's where I'm going with this kind of train of thought. Your thoughts are literally a series of interconnected electrical impulses that your brain has learned to interpret a certain way to make sense out of things for your survival. I don't really want to bore anybody watching this with all the science behind it. If you want, we can talk about it. I know some about it, but if you don't know anything about, how thoughts translate to our perception of reality and the actual science behind those impulses of the brain, I definitely recommend doing some research on it. It's actually pretty fascinating. So what I want to do at this point is I want to show you something to point out how easily our brain gets tricked or fooled. Now let's stick with the assumption that there is an interpretation of impulses by our brain. What's to say that those initial interpretations are correct? I know you're probably sitting here thinking that I'm overanalyzing this. We just have a brain, and what we see is what we are, and that's it, right? But just take a minute and play with me here. Just think about how many optical illusions you've seen in your life. Take this one, for example. Pretty cool, huh? I bet the first thing you saw was a tree. Did you look further, though? You might see two faces near the base of the tree. Look even closer. There's two more faces above the other two. And then, keep looking. There's even more faces. There's actually like 10 faces on this tree. Now imagine if you'd let that first interpretation be the only one that you formed, be the one that mattered. You would spend the rest of your life thinking that this tree is just another tree, nothing to see here or think about. However, and this is what I want to talk about, if you can teach yourself to see and think about everything in your life from more than one perspective, you'll be amazed at what you can discover. You might find that one or two things in your reality aren't really as they appeared, or you may discover that you've been living an entirely misinterpreted world. Think about that. The whole life you've been living, you've been looking at the first interpretation your brain shows you, and you're missing all these other things. It's mind-boggling to think about what you could be missing. Good news is, though, once you teach your brain to think a little differently about things, you can start to form new impressions about the world. You can see that trees aren't just trees. They're one microcosmic, tiny little piece of a much more interwoven, complex system, So the next bit of instructions that I wish to pass on and help you challenge yourself with is to think about things in more than one way you can see them. Do you want to be the person who keeps believing that only birds can fly, or do you want to be the next Wright brother? Do you want to believe the perception that some people are rich, some are middle class, and some are poor? Or do you have the courage to challenge yourself and challenge that belief and imagine a different system where we move beyond a segregated economical system, where we all live in a wealth-free utopia? Do you accept the perception that you're a nation where you're born and that anybody from another place is a foreigner? Or can you venture outside of your comfort zone and think maybe we're just like the trees? We might grow different in different places of the planet, but we're really all beings going through this together. So, just something to think about. I challenge you to look at the world a little bit differently, and don't just assume the first thing your brain interprets is the correct thing. Use that brain and let it do other interpretations for you. You know, be a being and see what else you can see through your eyes when you look a little harder. Just take a minute, stop, think, and see what you can really find out. You'll be surprised what realities you're going to discover when you stop to look at the world a little closer. So that's it for today. Thanks for checking out another video. There's much more to come. Have a great day.